name is Captain Robert Bailey. I am the commanding officer for Schuylkill. Alongside me is District Attorney Michael Pitt, Station Commander Sergeant Kelly Savage, Client Section Supervisor Sergeant Josh Lacey, Client Corporal here at Frackville, Corporal Francis McDonald, and also other members of the Criminal Investigation Unit. So the reason we're here today is to announce the arrest for the double homicide that occurred back last year in October. I'm fully aware that the community was very eager for this investigation to be solved. However, as investigators of the Pennsylvania State Police, we had to get it right. I'm going to provide a brief overview of the case itself. On Monday, October 9, 2023, Frackville Station received 2 missing person reports for Angelito Caraballo and Hunter Mock. And as a result, we started a missing person investigation. On Tuesday, October 10th, at approximately 03:25 hours, Frackville Station received a phone call from a friend of one of the missing individuals and stating that they found the victims deceased in the area known as the Sanchez. The Sanchez is an old mining area filled with water where locals socialize and have bonfires. The Sanchez is physically located approximately 0.3 miles south of Ferndale Road between Billy's Road and Washington Street within New Philadelphia Borough. Members of the patrol unit responded to that area and were able to confirm that the 2 individuals discovered were deceased and matched the identity of Hunter Mock and Angelito Caraballo. It was later determined by the coroner's office that the victims, Hunter Mock, died from a gunshot wound, and Angelito Caraballo from multiple stab wounds. Over the course of the past 8 months, dozens of investigative resources were utilized. For example, over 1,000 man-hours were put together to hopefully hold folks accountable for actions. Out of hours of interviews, hundreds of digital forensic analysis, hundreds of items submitted to the lab, evidence terrain searches conducted by the Pennsylvania State Police, troopers, and also Academy cadets. Based on investigative efforts, I am proud to announce that the 19-year-old Lamour Branch, Fort Harvey, was arrested and charged this morning for the homicide of victims Hunter Mock and Angelito Caraballo. We believe that Branch lured the victims to the Sanchez, where he ultimately murdered them. For the community, it should be noted that shortly after the double homicide, Branch was arrested for unrelated charges and has been in custody at the Schuylkill County Prison. I also want to take this opportunity to thank Frackville Station for their hard work, dedication, and bringing Branch to justice and holding him accountable for his actions. Lastly, I want to thank Schuylkill County District Attorney's Office who will share a few words. After he gets finished with his statement, we'll answer a few questions. I will remind everybody this is an ongoing and active investigation, so we cannot divulge too much information that may impede the investigation.
Thank you, Captain Bailey. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. Unfortunately, the circumstances that bring us here are not very pleasant. We're here to announce that this morning, as Captain Bailey indicated, Lamour Branch has been charged this morning and arrested for the double homicide which occurred on October 8th of 2023, which resulted in the killings of Angelito Caraballo and Hunter Mock. I would like to indicate at this point in time that the investigation was very detailed, it was a very deliberate investigation, and subsequently a very thorough investigation. I would like to personally thank the Pennsylvania State Police for all of their hard work in working with the District Attorney's Office in investigating this matter, particularly Trooper Reese, who spent many man-hours working on this to make sure that the appropriate charges were filed and the appropriate person was charged. We feel that the appropriate person was charged. We feel that the appropriate charges are now going to be heard by the Court of Common Pleas of Schuylkill County. And I believe that today is the first day that we can hope to bring justice to the victims in this matter and bring peace to the family and closure to the family. So I thank you for being here this afternoon. We will take very few questions. It is an ongoing investigation, so the answers may not be what you want to hear, but in order to protect the sanctity of this investigation, we will answer only what we can. Thank you.
Bo Colton, 69 News. Can you give a motive, and if you can't yet, can you say what the relationship was between Mr. Branch and between Mr. Lamour?
We know that they were friends. With regard to a motive, I'm not going to get into that, but I will let you know, generally speaking, we don't need a motive in order to prove our case. That's not an element of any of the offenses charged. Even if we knew even if we have a motive at this time, I'm not going to disclose that.
Mr. O'Pig, what was the affidavit is very, very detailed.
Yes, sir.
What would you say was the key evidence sealing the deal, charging for them to charge Taylor? The key, what evidence do you think was vital here? Well, and why did someone ask you why did it take 8 months?
First of all, I think every piece of evidence that has been collected is vital. So I can't indicate to you one item more so than the other. So again, with regard to the timing of this and why it took why it took 8 months, this is very detailed investigation. I've done a number of murder cases. The affidavit in this case is much more lengthy than any other affidavit I've seen in a homicide case. So a lot of information, investigative work went into it, and it took 8 months to get us there.
If I can, Mr. O'Pig,
Sure.
one quick question. The other individual who was there that day, I know his name came out during the search warrant affidavit. He told one story, and Mr. Branch told the other. If you can say, how were you able to decide who was telling the truth?
That's something that will come out during the trial.
Anyone else expected to be charged in relation?
At this point in time, we do not expect anyone else to be charged.
One of the final questions for me. So this morning, Mr. Branch is being let out of a hearing for an unrelated situation.
Correct.
State police showed up, gave him the charges because he was going to be released on bail. Is that accurate? Is that why you guys charged him in that courthouse today?
That's not completely accurate. He was in court this morning for a non-jury trial on an attempted burglary, attempted criminal trespass, and criminal mischief case. We expected a verdict in that case. We didn't know what that verdict would be. It turns out that he was found not guilty of the attempted homicide, the attempted criminal trespass, but was found guilty of the criminal mischief. The criminal mischief was a summary offense. It would not have required him to spend any more time in jail. He probably would have been released at some point in time today.
And were you concerned that he'd be a flight risk, knowing maybe his involvement with this?
Absolutely.
What's the message that is sent to the community and to the victims' families that you persisted through 8 months to come to this day?
If I had to say one word, I would say patience. I think that the Pennsylvania State Police were very forthcoming with the families about the investigation. I think the families were as patient as they could be or were expected to be until we got to this point. So I thank the families for their patience, and I thank the state police for their diligence in getting to this point. And as to the message to the community, we believe we have the right person behind bars right now in charge of this. So I think that the community of New Philadelphia can breathe a little easier.
Who's next in court?
Right now, I believe it is scheduled for June 11th, but we believe that hearing will not be held on that day, and it will be up to the magistrate and the district justice as to when he will schedule the new date.
Are you going to see any more general helping out? Are you going to seek the death penalty or anything in this case?
That's way too early to talk about that.
Mr. O'Pig, one last question. Just so I'm clear, I looked at the affidavit. They mentioned the handgun used was Hunter Fox gun. Actually, that was what the affidavit said. So make sure I'm reading it right.
We believe that it was a ghost gun.
ghost gun.
A ghost gun, yes. A ghost gun is a gun that can be manufactured and non-serialized number. There will be no serial number on the gun. It's a ghost gun, and that's what we believe. So we don't know. There was no registered owner to that.
I thought the affidavits mentioned Mark bought a handgun. I just want to make sure I'm clear on that.
So we think that Mark may have been in possession of that handgun at one point in time, but being that it's not registered to anybody specifically and it's a ghost gun, we can't 100% say ownership or determine ownership.
Thank you.
And again, just so I'm clear with the affidavit.
You said that was your last question.
So for Mr. Caraballo, he was not friends with Mr. Branch. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was not expected to go there that night. That was a surprise to Mr. Branch.
I know that's in the affidavit. I'm not going to comment any further other than what's in the affidavit.
That was your last question.
Andy just had to chastise this gentleman.
That's what Andy Pollard does. Mr. Sherwood mentioned the affidavit. Does he face, I know you said you don't expect any other charges. Could he face charges down the road?
We don't anticipate that happening.
Possibly.
Thank you. And I'm just kidding, you know. Anything else?
In the affidavit, it mentions that a friend, it was that a friend ended up finding these individuals. Does that friend face any investigation, or was the information that the friend was able to provide, that was just a friend looking for their friend?
That's what we believe, yes. We don't anticipate anything coming out of it. Anything else, Captain?
No, thank you. We appreciate your time. Just like the DA said, our goal here is to solve the investigation. That happened, okay? It took some time, but it took diligence. We made sure we crossed every T, dot every I. Make sure we got it right. And we got it right. So, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. More of a housekeeping question. Is it Lamour? Is that how you pronounce the first name, or is it Lamour?
Yes.
Well, it's Lamour.
Yes, so Lamour is how we would pronounce it.
Lamour is how you
Yes.
would pronounce it. Thank you.
Thank you.